Geometry, Chapter 1, Section 6, Quadrilaterals. So a quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. Quadrilateral is named like any other polygons with the names of the vertices. And remember, you have to go in order. So this quadrilateral, ABCD, notice it goes in order, ABCD, or CBAD. You can't just you have to follow the vertices in order. You can't just name any letter you want. So I could not do CABD. It's not going in order. You have to follow the name in order of the vertices. A trapezoid is a special type of quadrilateral. It has one set of parallel sides. So AB and DC are parallel. Now you'll notice we indicated them being parallel with these arrows. The arrows indicate the sides are parallel. A kite. A kite is a quadrilateral that has 2 sets of consecutive congruent sides. So just like the kites that you fly, it looks very, very similar. These sides are congruent. These sides are congruent. And you notice the tick marks indicate the sides are congruent. So a single tick mark indicating these, 2 tick marks indicating those 2 sides are congruent. Parallelogram. Parallelogram is a quadrilateral that both set of opposite sides are parallel and congruent. So these sides are parallel and congruent. Notice the arrows and the tick marks indicating parallel, congruent. And then these sides are parallel and congruent. Notice I've only got 1 arrow on one set of lines, and I've got 2 arrows on the other set of lines. So you have to make sure, just like with different ticks for the congruence, you have to put different number of arrows indicating which sides are parallel. A rhombus is a quadrilateral that both sets of opposite sides are parallel and all 4 sides are congruent. Parallel, 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 and parallel, but all 4 sides are congruent. A rectangle is a quadrilateral that both sets of opposite sides are parallel and congruent, and all 4 angles are 90 degrees. So it's just like a parallelogram, except we added that extra step. So a parallelogram's got all these properties here. Opposite sides are parallel and congruent, but it added the additional property that, hey, all the angles are 90 degrees. So it took it to the next step. Square. Square is a quadrilateral that both sets of opposite sides are parallel and congruent. All 4 sides are congruent, and all 4 angles are 90 degrees. So you're just taking it to the next step. So we added the additional property that all of these, not only are they parallel, all 4 sides are congruent, and all the angles are all 90 degrees. So it's taking it to the next step, to adding all these additional properties from the previous shapes that we talked about. So let's identify these shapes. Now we got to be careful. We can only identify shapes based on what is indicated. So this first shape is a rhombus. Now the reason I can identify that as a rhombus is all 4 sides are congruent. This second shape is a trapezoid. This third shape is a kite. These consecutive sides are congruent. This shape, fourth shape, is a parallelogram. The second shape, sorry, the fifth shape here is also a parallelogram. Because all we know is that the opposite sides are congruent. That makes it a parallelogram. And this last shape, where all four angles are congruent, that has to be a rectangle. Since all four angles are congruent, all four angles have to be 90 degrees. The only shape where that is the only known property that we have would be a rectangle. Rectangle, all four angles have to be 90 degrees. So let's look at this. Find the missing points that will make two congruent quadrilaterals. So we've got this first quadrilateral, ABCD, and we're trying to find the points that will make EF also a congruent quadrilateral. So I'm going to follow the same sort of pattern. So EF, we notice, looks very similar to AB. Not only does it look very similar, it is the same length. If we look at this, going from A to B, we go up 3 over 2. Well, E to F, up 3 over 2. So I'm going to follow that same pattern. So from B to C, I go down 1 over 4. So I'm going to repeat that. Down 1 over 4. So there's my next point. From A to D, I go down 3 over 3. So I'm going to repeat that. Down 3 over 3. So here, is my congruent quadrilateral. EF, EF, G, H. Those are congruent quadrilaterals. Let's do a little bit of algebra review. We have a quadrilateral ABCD is a rectangle. So I don't have a drawing, but I'm going to draw this out. I'm going to draw a rectangle. The length of AB is twice the length of BC. So we know AB is longer. So AB, CD, AB is twice the length of BC. So if I call BC X, AB is twice that, 2X. Now, what I remember about rectangles is that these sides are congruent. So that's also 2X, and then these sides are congruent. So that's also X. The perimeter of the rectangle is 54. Remember, the perimeter is the sum of all the sides. So what's the length of each side? So I'm going to add up all the sides. 2x plus 2x plus x equals the perimeter, which is 54. 2x plus x plus 2x plus x, that's 6x equals 54. So x is 9. So now I plug that in. So this is length 9. This is length 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 9 is 18. And that is the end of this lesson.